As an intro, my name's Erin Harlan. I'm part of the product marketing team here at Smartsheet, and I'm joined today by my colleague Sasan Adai, who's on our product management team. Welcome, Sasan.
Well, thank you.
Today we are very excited to introduce you to some new and much anticipated functionality with Smartsheet, our new and improved dashboards, which now have charting capability. So those of you who are familiar with our sites functionality, we have enhanced that functionality and renamed sites to dashboards, and we now have a new widget within those dashboards, which is a chart widget that allows you to create interactive charts of your live Smartsheet data. So our objectives today are we're going to learn how to create a chart in a Smartsheet dashboard. We're also going to identify the best chart type for your data. And we're also going to review some best practices for building an effective chart in your dashboard. Now with that, I'd like to hand it over to Sasan, who is going to walk us through some of this functionality.
Excellent. Thank you, Erin. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for your time. As Erin mentioned, this is Sasan Adai, Product Management at Smartsheet. And it's a privilege to kind of go over the functionality of charts within dashboards. I'm sure everybody can see the view of my home preview and the fact that we have now a dashboard/portals. It used to be sites, now it's called dashboards and portals, and the fact that you can just basically go to create a new dashboard from right over here. And I've already queued up things for this webinar, so I'm going to go into my dashboard over here, start with a blank canvas, and go through the process of creating a chart. We have now added a seventh widget to the widget types that we have, and that is the chart widget. You can simply click on chart and look for that sheet that you're looking for, that data that you're trying to chart. In this case, I have this sheet that I'm going to search for, and it's right here. And the data that I'm looking for is more operational with my staff, and I do have my staff members and tracking for number of late tasks open and closed issues that I want to highlight and build a story upon to bring into my dashboard. So I basically click on that and say OK, and I get a preview panel right over here and the formatting capabilities. We're going to go through the formatting capabilities just to set the stage for you. I'm going to go really quickly on really high-level formatting functionality that we have, and then we're going to go into the display of that chart, talk about the responsiveness of the chart, and other interactivity that you have within the chart. Well, let's go through briefly through the formatting capabilities. From here, you do have 5 different containers. One container that contains chart and anything related to data and other formatting, and including 4 different chart types available to you, which would be the column, bar, line, and pie charts. And we have also built a recommendation engine based upon the data structure that you provide. Will give you a recommended chart type. As an example, this is a column chart. However, for a line chart, if we see some dates, because line charts are really good for timeline-based charting, if we see some dates within your data, we'll definitely recommend a line chart. However, you can change that at any given time to a bar, line, or column chart. In this case, we'll stay at a column chart. And then the next thing that I'm going to go through is the titles and legend formatting capability. You can go ahead and change this to status of staff, and you can position the chart title in the middle if you wish, or to the right. The recommended is always in the middle or on the left to be consistent with other widget types that you have. You can also change the color of your title in the background to any other color that you wish to make it, again, consistent with other widgets that you have. And you can format it just like the other widgets to increase the size of the font, bold, different font types, or whatever it may be. And then also you have the capability of adding a horizontal axis title. This would be the horizontal, so you can basically type in staff. You have the same formatting toolbar that you have available for other titles. And a vertical, which I will just put in count. And same thing, the formatting capabilities are available for that vertical axis as well too. And in addition to that, you can also in this area change your title to top, right, bottom, or left as you wish. In this case, I'm going to keep it on the right-hand side. And then we can go to the next container, which is the horizontal axis right over here. If you really want to highlight your staff members, you can again use the same formatting toolbar that you have available in other containers and other widget types. And you can increase the size if you wish, change to a different font type. And also this is the area that you can also add grid lines, as you see right over here, vertical grid lines, and also another grid line on the vertical axis. You can also add another grid line over here, and the same formatting applies for the vertical axis. So if I turn around and I make these bold, these numbers become bold. And then the last container is the series by itself. You can turn around and change the color to your preferences. As you can see, late tasks over here right now is in blue. I can turn around and say I want that in black. You can also add data labels for late tasks if you want to really hone in on the late tasks element and series. Or you can turn around and basically say I want all data labels available for all series. In this case, I'm going to turn them off so that I can show you other capabilities from a display perspective. So this is a really quick overview of the different formatting capabilities. I will come back to this and go a little bit deeper on some of the unique elements within the chart and data section, and we'll go through that later on in the webinar. So what I'm going to do now is to basically say done, and now it becomes a widget. And this widget now, one of the most important things about this widget is responsive. So as you can see, the chart is very much responsive to the size of the widget. As soon as I make this widget a little more thinner in that respect, it would be responsive and will slant the labels as such. So that makes it really, really convenient for you, because there's so many different widgets in this dashboard that you want to make sure that everything is concise and fitting in the first fold or second fold respectively. In addition to that, when you save this chart, there are some other additional functionality that are available both on the desktop and mobile. On the desktop, all your viewers, they can get more details on each series. As you can see right over here, I can hover and see more details, 14 count over there and 32 counts over here. One of the other things that we have also added is the filtering capability. So if you want to see all the issues without late tasks, so you want to hone in only on the open or closed, you can click on late tasks. You can also go a little further and basically say I really want to see all open issues, so you can filter closed. And notice that when I click on this, the scale also dynamically changes effectively right over here. As you can see, the scale changes according to the filtering that you have. And one more thing that we've added, again, from a viewership perspective, all your viewers, if you have a refresh of your dashboard every minute or incrementally, as soon as you refresh or you come to a dashboard, all your charts have an animation effect, as you saw right over there. It would build up that chart, so it's very much eye-catching, and we'll make sure that it's really visible to your audience. Okay, at this time, I'm going to switch now back to formatting, and I'm going to go a little bit deeper on some of the functionalities that we have built for you. As you can see in this view, I'm looking at all the tasks and issue per person for a staff member over here. I would like to see this view of the chart in a different view. I want to see the view from a late tasks, open and closed issue view. So what I can do is to say switch rows and columns. So as you can see, I'm looking at that category specifically, and then people respectively right over here, Stephen, Ben, and Scott. So you can look at the data from two different perspectives. And a couple other things that I wanted to show you, again, the bar chart and then the line chart that we talked about. The other thing that I wanted to hone in on and talk about was this right over here, use column names as labels. One of the distinctive differentiators for Smartsheet is the fact that you can change your column headers and specify different names your column headers. Let me explain that to you in a different view. So I'm going to delete this chart and go to Add Widget, and I'm going to look for another sheet that I have, which is this, and I'll show you exactly what you can do with that capability. So as you can see right over here, my data, this is my sales, and my column headers are right over here. Again, that's a unique feature for Smartsheet, that if you do have column headers already within your sheet and data as such, where you can grab the data, and if you don't have any labels on top of this range, we automatically take a look at your column headers, and if you do have column headers, in most cases you do, we automatically pick that up for you and chart against that. So as you can see right over here, all the dates that you had on your column headers are coming through. Because you had dates, that's another thing that we've added, is we recognize anything with January, or in a date format. As soon as we see that, we recommend a line chart, and as you can see, this is a line chart, and this box now is checked automatically as a default, and that only happens when your range does not include a label within the range on the top row. We take the next step and go to your column headers, and we naturally bring that into the chart, and you can choose not to use it, or you can use it and go on about building that chart for yourself. Okay, so I'm just going to basically say done over there. The other feature that I wanted to show you really quickly also is, if we recognize that you do have some numbers within your first column, usually the first column is used for labels, but what happens if you have numbers in there? So I just wanted to show you what the chart does in that respect. So I do have some data that I can bring in over here that shows you exactly what that means. So as you can see right over here, this range right over here, the first column, the labels actually are 1, 2, 3. So these are, for you, these are data labels because these are week 1, 2, and 3. But when the chart looks at this, it looks at this column and sees either, it sees numbers. So what we do by default, we basically use these as labels for you, just to make sure that we recognize potentially this could be labels for you. However, at the same time, you can choose to use these as data points or use them as labels if you wish. By default, we use them as labels, but again, you have the capability of saying that I want to use these as data points. So these are some of the things that I wanted to kind of review with you and go over some of the formatting capabilities, and then we also naturally talked about overall formatting. One of the areas that I also wanted to focus on was best practices. And if you notice, there's two charts right over here in the bottom. This is a before and after. As you can tell right over here, some of the things that I recommend from a best practices perspective is, if you have large numbers like this with decimal points in this context really don't make any sense for people. Long labels, we really recommend brevity, short labels, and then anything like a grid line right over here really at the end of the day doesn't add value for users, so remove those as much as possible. And as you can see, this is the after right over here. The numbers are much, much shorter. You can add millions as a text on top in the chart title. Get rid of grid lines. Those are considered chart junk. And then brevity is really, really important. Keep things short, especially when it comes to mobile. This will come out much, much better for a mobile view than this does. So wanted to kind of give you some tips and tricks when it comes to charting as well too. And that's where we can switch off to the next thing that we wanted to share with you, which was the possibilities and flexibility that you have within and the range of chart types that you have. And this is a really high-level overview of some of the possibilities and things that you can do with the new charting feature.
That's fantastic. And you can see all of this is driven directly from live data in your sheets. So all of this will automatically update as your sheets update. And it just tells a much more comprehensive story.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
That saying that a picture's worth 1,000 words is really true in this case, where I can really quickly and easily see from my live data what's happening within my business.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you, Sasan, for sharing that with us. I'm going to jump back to the slides here and just want to recap some of those best practices that you shared with us, and then we can jump into some questions. You talked about different chart types being applicable to your data. So definitely bar and column charts are really great for showing comparisons. So if you have comparative data, those are probably the chart types you might want to look at first. But pie charts really display proportions or percentages of a whole. So if you're dealing with proportions of a whole, a pie chart might be the best option. And then line charts, as Sasan mentioned, show trends over time. So if you have dates in your data that you're going to be trying to track, or you're looking at a trend line or time or data over time, a line chart's probably going to be the best fit for that.
Right.
Also, Sasan showed us how we can adjust color, and we can manually adjust and determine color and use that color to your advantage to really focus attention. We changed that column from blue to black. All of a sudden it really stood out, and now I'm really paying attention to that data point more significantly. Also, as Sasan talked about in best practices, simplify your chart. Take out a lot of the extra junk. Make sure that your labels are short and concise. Take out any unnecessary grid lines. Make that chart really, really clear and easy to understand. Also, think about being mobile ready. What's beneficial about these charts and our dashboards is they are mobile ready on our mobile device, and you can now have access to this live data anywhere. You don't have to be sitting at your desk in front of your computer. You can be in a meeting, you can be on the go, and you can still access this data. So when you're thinking about building those charts, really think about also how you want to consume them on your mobile device. Mm-hmm. Great. I also wanted to highlight some additional resources that we have. So in addition to the webinar today, of course, there's a bunch of great articles in our Help Center, which is at help.smartsheet.com. Also, our dashboard gallery. If you haven't visited, it's got a bunch of different ideas of different ways to build some dashboards that include some charts. Also, we have a few great help videos in the Video Center, and also our Smartsheet blog, which is a great resource with some tips and tricks and best practices. We have a couple minutes. I do want to take some time and address some of the questions that we are getting here. So we've got a lot of people, Sasan, asking, can I use a report for a data source to build a chart?
Great question. Yeah, at this time, the data source for a chart needs to be from a sheet. Reports as a source is definitely to follow in future releases.
I have another question. People are asking, can you create a chart in a sheet or a report?
Currently, charts can only be created in a dashboard as the most natural place to show visuals in that respect. Creating charts in a sheet or report is definitely in our future releases.
Can you talk more about the mobile support for charts?
Absolutely. All the things that we showed today, all the charts will be displayed on your dashboard using your mobile device.
Okay.
Yeah.
But mobile, just to clarify, the mobile device is consumption only.
That's right.
There's not building capability on
Absolutely.
mobile.
It's view only. Absolutely.
Gotcha. Great. Will the chart release also include a pivot table?
Great question. The chart widget release is purely designed for visualization of data. To get your data in a pivot table, at this time we would recommend using the premium pivot app to build a pivot table on a sheet.
Another question is, will the chart release also include data aggregation prior to plotting the chart?
That's another good question. The chart widget release will only plot the data range selected. The data range should be already aggregated prior to creating a chart. Advanced aggregation tool for charts is to follow in the future releases.
Okay. And I think for those of you who maybe saw our earlier release earlier this month or attended one of our webinars last week on cross-sheet formulas, the new cross-sheet formula functionality does make it a lot easier to do a lot of that aggregation and calculation across multiple sheets prior to building your chart. So if you have data on multiple sheets that you want to be able to bring into a chart, you can use either cross-sheet formulas or cell linking capability and put all of that in one place that then you can easily chart that data. One is about contiguous or discontiguous data.
Yes, great question. In V1 at this stage, your data definitely has to be in a contiguous format in one range or table. And to your point, bring all your data into one place or one sheet, aggregate it, and make sure that it's one contiguous range or table with labels on top and the labels on the left, or again, we can pick up your labels from your column headers, and that's the simplest way to create a chart.
Great. It looks like there's a couple questions about the ability to download a chart.
Great question. That's definitely in our feature list as far as enhancements in the future, the ability to be able to download a chart.
Okay. Also some questions about other chart types or more complex chart types.
That's a great question too. Initially, when we're thinking about the V1 for charts, it was really important to see what majority of customers are using today. And based upon some research that we did, we found out that 90% of the charts created out in the marketplace are these 4 chart types. And at the same time, based upon that feedback that we get from customers, as far as popular chart types, we can certainly add those in the future.
Okay, great. Let's see. There's also a question about, are charts available to all plan types? And I think I can address that one, which is that because charts, this current version of charts is available in dashboards, which is a premium feature, that dashboards are only available on business and enterprise plans. So in order to be able to build a chart, you do have to be a licensed user on a business or enterprise plan so that you have the capability to build a dashboard with a chart in it. However, I got a lot of questions as well about sharing charts. What's nice about once you have that dashboard and you have those live charts, you can share that dashboard with anybody. They don't have to be a licensed user. They don't even have to know what Smartsheet is. You can simply share it to anybody. So you can share your live chart and your live dashboard full of charts with hundreds or thousands of different people, and everybody will have the ability to view and consume that data in real time. And that's really the power behind your dashboards and these live visualizations, is that you have that real-time access, and you can grant that real-time access to consume that information and make those data-driven decisions to anybody. Yep. I know we've got a lot of questions about next steps. We've got a lot of questions about where do I learn more. So I just want to reemphasize these resources that are available today. These are all free resources: the Help Center, the gallery, the videos, and the blog. And these are self-help resources that you can access at any time. We also do have a bunch of additional resources as well. We have teams that can help you, so both in terms of training and consulting. So if you want to take a deeper dive into how to build dashboards or best practices, or if you're interested in getting certified to be a Smartsheet certified user, I would encourage you to check out our training page. We have a bunch of different offerings, from virtual classes to online to a live classroom, or we even have teams that can come on site and train your team on how to use Smartsheet. And then we also have a consulting team that can help you build custom solutions. So if you're looking to build a custom dashboard and you want some hands-on help putting your solution together, we have a team that can help you do that as well. So if you need some more hands-on help, either learning how to do it or you want someone to help you do it and build things out, definitely visit our services page at smartsheet.com/services, and those teams are more than happy to help you as well. All right, we are at time, and I do want to be respectful of people's time. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are very, very excited about our new and improved dashboards, as well as the charting widget now available, and we hope you are too. And we look forward to seeing you on the next webinar.